Hey, welcome back. I am Emily, the Voluptuous Witch, and I am here with the amazing Tatiana Tarot.
Hello, my loves.
And we're really excited to be back with you. We're going to, as always, cover, it's your Astro Tarot forecast. We're going to cover the astrology of the week and then receive some messages from Spirit, work with the tarot to kind of give us more insight and information on how to navigate the astrology of the week and the happenings of the week. So, one major aspect that I think we have all already been feeling and already been aware of with the power struggles and, what we're seeing in Charlottesville, Pluto is in the mix, right? We can feel when there is Pluto heavy astrology, where there's a shadow element that is raised and comes to the surface. So we have Venus opposing Pluto, and that brings some of that up, and it can bring conflict or kind of a desire to want to be in conflict. It can bring up some challenges in love and relationship and also with money. So that part of the astrology of the week can feel a little bit trying, but it's always good to remember the transformative qualities of Pluto, that Venus is about our values and about love and connection. And so when Pluto's in the mix with Venus, we can have like a very transformative love, like a love that actually really shifts and transforms and is an opportunity when we're challenged to kind of like live our values or deepen into them or clarify what they are. So we have Venus, Pluto, and then we have Sun, trine, Saturn. And so Sun, trine, Saturn it's a really good time to get to work because the sun is our self, it's us, it's our light. And then Saturn is a builder. So Saturn can help us build something that has the potential to last and is kind of more sustainable.
What we were just talking about.
Yes, what we were just talking about. Exactly. So we're kind of thinking of like, what can sustain us? Not kind of these quicker fixes. What can sustain us? How can we maintain our energy? How can we, be building for the future? Which is really important personally, and on a bigger level, on a wider level. And it's, the last week until the eclipse, like we're a week away from the solar eclipse. So I think, we are in the mix of eclipse season. We're still feeling that energy of change, transformation, surprise. Undoubtedly, Mercury, of course, stationed retrograde. So we are still just like a couple, we're right at the beginning of that. And the Mercury retrograde energy, it's important to remember, is strongest in the days surrounding the station. So when station's retrograde and when station's direct. So right at the beginning and right at the end, those are the times when actually we want to be most aware of some of the Mercury retrograde cautions, like purchasing a major piece of technology or like sending a message to your whole work address book, or like that is not for them.
Sending the wrong message.
Yeah, like I just saw someone sent, who knows, because I saw it on Twitter, but it was like
that says a lot.
But it was like their Harry Potter, like some kind of Harry Potter, like fan fiction porn or something that they sent accidentally, like to coworkers or whatever. I was like, that is Mercury retrograde. So yeah. Right at the beginning, right at the start. So these couple days, just be mindful of that. It's nothing to be scared of. This is a great time to like get organized and stuff, but just to kind of have awareness that that's going on. And then toward the end of the week, the moon will conjoin Venus. So we'll feel that on Thursday. We'll feel that like Thursday, Friday, and that's sweet in Cancer, the moon and the Venus in Cancer. It's very loving, very emotional, soft, good time to like be with someone you care about, communicate, connect, do something sweet for yourself, be generous. I think it's a kind of healing energy that we all need right now. So we'll feel that toward the end of the week before the eclipse. So.
And what's the last day of the week? I didn't even reference
the date.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 20th. So this goes through the 20th, the 14th to the 20th, and then Monday
Then the
is
eclipse is on the Monday, right?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
Good. So then you'll be able to catch us next week for what's to come on a bigger scale. I was wondering, you did say we got like one more week left, and I was like, really? My brain has been completely still on this eclipse that just passed and what's transpiring in between. And I'm like, oh, we still got to get ready for this other one.
I know. Well, because we're waning, right? So we're in the waning moon. So it definitely is. This is a release time for sure. Like as we're thinking about our intentions and what we want to set and where we want to go, eclipse season definitely kicks up, especially eclipse season kicks up like what it's time to get rid of, like what is done. So those things can kind of arise. So waning, this phase of the moon is these moon phases are the ideal time to really do some of that, and it can feel really good to just even like declutter our space, things like that during this time to kind of prepare for that. And then we have this beautiful Leo new moon solar eclipse that's like a big, really big, powerful energy, in rulership, right? Because like the sun rules Leo, and we're having this kind of like, the eclipse season, it's all about opposites and the shadow and the light. And, because it is about a shadow, but it's about a shadow that occurs from our perspective on Earth, right? Like that's from where we are. That's what creates that's how we experience that shadow. So it's kind of like I think it is that a lot of things are coming to light now to be seen in a way. And then the important thing to remember and keep thinking about is like how we want to harness the energy of that solar eclipse in like a really loving, powerful way, to put that bright solar, energy of our own out into the world.
Oh, we're going to show up at this time, most definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. This is exciting. All right. So taking all this, let us see how we can apply the tarot into what we just found out astrologically. I'm going to be shuffling the cards once again to kind of discern, all right, what should we be aware of in terms of personal limitations and blockages that can show up this week in regards to the astrological influences. And this is not necessarily the case, like when I bring this up as a question to the tarot, this is not the case that it's going to happen. This is just like, this energy is very prevalent. Like, be mindful of not falling into that trap. So, Spirit, in love and light for the highest good of all involved, what blockages and limitations can we anticipate or should we be mindful of during this week? Shoot. Okay. Interesting. All right. I'm getting a couple of things. So we're getting the Page of Pentacles here. And the Page of Pentacles, I see this as a character of a messenger, a delivery person, someone who is kind of like on the hunch to gain knowledge or to transfer knowledge, to communicate wisdom, to communicate something tangible. Because again, he is dealing with the physical realm. He is dealing with the pentacles, which involves earth and what is grounded, what is real, what is practical, essentially. Page of Pentacles can be identified as a character who has acquired enough wisdom and knowledge and information to then go ahead and make that move that he has been wanting to manifest for some time, to go ahead and maybe necessarily take a leap of faith. I see this as a calculated leap of faith, but it's still a leap of faith because he's wanting to implement the new. This being a blockage or a limitation in some way, I could see this message being more like, don't be so impulsive to take that risk or to initiate anything at this time. You might need to kind of review the facts. You might need to marinate a little bit more on wisdom and information and guidance that's streaming in. Also, I feel like there's a need, or there is a not a need, excuse me, there is a way, there's a habit with this card of disregarding intuitive knowledge and just sticking to the facts and sticking to what's real. Like, this is earth, it is solid, it can't possibly be energy, you know? So, you know, we were taking out a huge factor there that can marry the fact that earth is solid, but it is also an energetic entity. Page of Pentacles is telling you, coming out as a womp womp blockage, it's telling you there's more information on its way to you that you have not quite considered or regarded. There's still puzzle pieces falling into place that are formulating some direct path for you. So don't just be quite rash in making any sudden moves, even moves that you feel secure in making. I would say wait this out, which kind of makes sense for the Mercury retrograde. You know, you want to make sure that you have everything in order and not being impulsive and just really doing your research, being very analytical, being, you know, just making sure that everything is in place. Most definitely check in with what resonates with you. Page of Pentacles can also mean someone who is offering their assistance, who is offering help, who could be a really handy person in your life this time. Blockages and limitations for me would say that although this is great, how is this enabling you in some way? Maybe this help is you know, positive to take in some aspects, but could be taking your power away or stopping you from being proactive in ways that are helping you grow or achieve things the way you would want to achieve things. So it's kind of like, if you want to get it done, do it yourself and just don't be so impulsive to take the easy way out, so to speak. So I would be mindful of that as well, that there's still some work marinating here that you would have to dive into. And it's not hard work. It's more of how can you be a little bit more mindful, being proactive, empowering yourself, empowering your actions, and proactive in really finding out the nooks and crannies of what you want to get into, instead of assuming that everything that you're stepping into is already set in place and it's going to be optimistic and positive, everything's going to fall into place. You know, just kind of doing your research. Let me see if I'm getting any more information, because I feel like the Page of Pentacles for some reason can be overwhelming, and that's what it is. Okay, so I got the message right there. Being that I mentioned that Page of Pentacles can be informational, he could be a deliverer of information. He could be a deliverer of news and education and wisdom and messages and stuff like that. This coming up as a blockage, this coming up as a limitation. As in lieu of what's going on a cosmic scale, on a micro and macro scale with society and with yourself personally. This may be a warning to kind of protect yourself energetically, to protect yourself from all this information, all this news that's like being shot out at you. You're learning something new every 5 seconds, and your neurons are being very heavily stimulated. So are your nervous systems. So it is okay for you to step back. It's okay for you to be like, okay, I need a breather, because I am virtually surrounded by everything, or whether that's physically, the newspapers have it everywhere, or whether that's physically, I see violence in the streets, or going in the train station is overwhelming. You need to take a step back. And that's just like every corner you get, it could be like, hey, here's this, or hey, here's that, you know? So just be mindful of self-care. Okay, self-care is always a number one thing. But self-care can also mean thinking ways in advance of, you know, ways to maneuver this. But best for yourself. I don't even know if I'm wording that right, but ways to ground yourself in advance. If you could potentially see what you're going into, what you're getting into, or you're going to be overtly exposed to something that's still energetic toxicity. So yeah, don't be so willing to take what's being offered to you. You have to be very discerning as to what energies you want to interact with, because ultimately this is a great time for manifestation. It is a great time for transformation. You only have so much focus, so much space for you to work with. What are you going to allocate that to? Are you going to allocate that to all the fears and the anxieties and the worries that's going on? Or are you going to be really focusing within on what you need to do to handle how you can best show up for yourself and show up for the world? So focus on that. I hope that makes sense.
It's very wise. It's very wise. It actually reminds me of a post I just read by Jessie Susanna, Money Witch.
Oh, I love her.
Yes. She's wonderful. And talking about that, about self-care, about acknowledging essentially that we are really sensitive people, right? Like that as empaths, as psychics, as energy workers, that we are deeply sensitive. And this post in particular was speaking specifically to, white people, white healers like myself, like Jessie Susanna, and that it is imperative that we show up right now and that we be active in our involvement, that we're like connected to the community, that we participate, and that we speak out against white supremacy, and that all of these things are essential. And then at the same time, if we ignore our sensitivity and we don't do our self-care and we don't clear and we don't ground, and I think this is true for everyone, at a time when the energy is so intense and we're taking in so much, everything you were just saying, like old trauma, so many things surfacing, we can hit a wall and be like totally incapacitated and have nothing to offer at all, and
it can hit us harder than it would normally, because there's just so many people in this collective wave that are feeling the same things, going through the same things, so it's like intensified. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that, so the prioritizing that, everything you're saying, but that one part of it definitely also made me think of that post, that like being aware of our own energy and caring for our own energy is also an offering, because then we can show up more. Yes, Ashe, and show up for ourselves too. And I love what you said about only having so much energy, and that, because that really is true. Like that is a very powerful message. Like, we can't get distracted. We only have so much energy and we only have so much time. So it can really help to really choose, really choose, like what are those like key things that we're going to focus on and devote to that. I really appreciate hearing that.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to note that I think a lot of people on a collective scale are kind of feeling helpless, like, what the fuck can I do? If I'm not a physical activist going out there, if I'm not, on the sidelines, rah-rahing, you kind of feel like powerless in some way. And I think it really attributes to the power of intention and energy. It's not necessarily that you're negating what's going on, that you're ignoring or you're putting a side eye to what's going on, but doing energy work, focusing on how you can show up better, how you can elevate yourself, how you can raise your vibrations, how maybe you can show up for your friends, your family, your community, whether that's on a ritualistic level, showing up as a healer, showing up as a writer, showing up in your artistic craft. It doesn't necessarily have to mean political activism in the way traditional political activism looks. You're still contributing to the shift by adding this positive projection force, so I feel like it's very imperative to mention that people have their own ways of dealing with this energy right now, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we are all going to fit in the same box as to how we show up to be activists. But yeah, so that's what I just wanted to mention, because it reminded me of as someone mentioning, like, well, but what do I do? I feel like I'm not doing anything as a healer. And it's like, no, you are. You're doing a lot. So, you know, let's see what's working with us this week consciously. Knowing, okay, and there it is. The Hierophant.
Oh.
The Hierophant talks about tradition, and it talks about, when I see this card, most importantly, I see someone who is autonomous, who is really in alignment with their personal power, and they're not really seeking external validation. They're attuning to the divinity inside of themselves, and they're acting on that force to be a staple of empowerment and movement and power in general. The Hierophant will ask you on a positive scale to question your belief systems, to question the layers that you have been involved in all this time, whether it be societal or financial, labels and identities that you've associated with that are not necessarily authentic to who you are. Challenge the status quo, challenge these traditions, challenge these rules and regulations. And what does it mean for you to have a new set of rules and regulations for yourself, new boundaries? What does it mean for you to be your own authoritative force? What does it mean for you to be your own guru? And for you to kind of listen to your own insight and have that be the way of the law for yourself, rather than you listening to what's going on around you. The Hierophant, I feel, is a very wise, very educational card. And it also pertains to structure. So now we have the opportunity here on a positive scale to restructure things the way we see fit. Especially, we have a very holy, divine theme happening in this card. So, structuring your spirituality so that it can help you reformulate what's going on in the external and how to best navigate what's going on with the external, especially when you have some sort of inner clarity. I do feel like the Hierophant is an invitation to dive in deeper into your own mysteries, dive in deeper into spiritual practices or ideologies and cultures that make you understand essentially who you are on a broader scale, aside from that on the physical, aside from that on an identity, Also, I do feel like it's mass healing. It is mass healing. So the Hierophant does, most importantly, remind me of, showing up for yourself by leading through example, leading through what you feel you most resonate with, what you feel you most connect with, and that starting a mini revolution, because then people notice the transformation inside of you and want to echo that inside of themselves. So rather than listening to any external forces, you're like, well, I am the most important force that I know of. What do I want? What is right for me? What resonates with me? What belief systems? What faith? What is my faith? And how do I act in alignment to that faith? I think it's going to be a very raw week, but somewhat ending in some sort of nice comforting pillow for us to lie in, if that makes any sense, because the Hierophant always brings up a sense of questioning your identity and really questioning the root of who we are as an individual, and how has society played a role on that, and how to break on through so that you can essentially be your own master and your own authoritative force, so to speak. So just be mindful that this is a theme that's really working proactively in your life, positively in your life, very dynamic, very powerful. It may cause you to break up with things. It may cause you to shift things, end careers, challenge your family, challenge your friends, challenge society. You might end up wanting to isolate yourself, because it is going to be a time where it's okay for you to be selfish, to kind of discover, well, what is the self? What am I? You know? But yeah.
That sounds like medicine we need.
Ashe.
Ashe.
You have anything else to tell me, card? Hierophant. I think skeleton key. It's really interesting because we have the symbology of 2 skeleton keys underneath this character here. And I'm not a professional symbologist or whatever you call them.
Yes, you are.
But when I see skeleton keys, in fact, I actually have them here. I think about Papa Legba or Legua, the gatekeepers in Voodoo and in Santeria and in Ifa. They're synonymous with being kind of like the intermediary force between the living and the dead, but they allow you to access your destiny, but also kind of give you the wisdom to know, okay, I'm being mindful that I'm choosing this for myself. And that we always have a choice, and they're symbolized with these skeleton keys, because the keys open up the roads, they open up doors, they open up gates and opportunities and stuff. And I think that being in the Hierophant card, it's like you are your own gatekeeper. No one's going to open things up for you. No one's going to illuminate the path but you. And once you chose a path, it's up to you to walk through it with conviction. So I'm getting a lot of goosebumps, but I'm also getting the confidence that you are divinely led. So this isn't going to be an oblivious time for you where it's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. You'll get the signs, you'll get the intuitive promptings as to where you should be going. But ultimately the message is, this is your decision. There's no one higher than you. Okay. And really you want to really make a strong resonance and connection with what it means to have a spirit. What is faith? What do you put your faith in? You know, and how can you align with that to best open up the gates in your life, especially at this time where it's like in your face, you know, transformation is for everybody at this point. So yeah, that was the final message. Gatekeepers. We are the gatekeepers to the future. Use that wisely. Know what you're opening up. All right.
Wow.
Let me actually finish this up with an Ascended Masters card, because we had such great overwhelming results last week. Ascended Master. I think it was Kuan Yin that came out and everybody's like, oh my God, that was perfect. So let's see. Okay, Ascended Masters for the highest good of all involved. Which one can best give us clarity and guidance on this week? Which one is most guiding us? Okay, so they're already falling out on their own. Yes. Ganesh says yes, which is really funny. I had a reading earlier today in a cafe, and the lady that sat next to me, she was so focused in the reading that I was like kind of drawn into her energy. But her laptop had a big sticker of a Ganesh on it. So I was like, okay, now we're showing up twice. Ganesh, funny enough, is also synonymous with Papa Legba in the Legua, because it's the gatekeeper. He's a remover of obstacles. He also is a prankster and places obstacles in your path so that you learn how to remove them yourself, so that you are not enabled, like we mentioned earlier. Get things happening in your own life. You are in alignment with your power, the creator and the destroyer. So Ganesh, all the doorways are open for you and the pathway is clear. Any previous obstacles have been removed. Keep a positive mindset about the situation to ensure the best possible outcome. Additional meanings for this card. The answer to your question is yes. This is a good time to make a move or change. Your prayers are being heard and are being answered. You have positive support for this situation. Keep the faith. Ganesh is the Hindu elephant-headed overcomer of obstacles who clears your path of any blocks. Call upon Ganesh at the beginning of any ceremony or new project to ensure a smooth start with steady progress. He's also very supportive of writers and helps anyone who is in a bind. And so it is.
And so it is. Wow, that's so amazing. You know, it's so interesting because I feel I sometimes will chant to Ganesh, and I feel like it's really powerful at, like as in removing obstacles, and actually I'll put up a little video of the chant, like on my, it's really simple with the words, so you can read it if you want to take a peek. I'll put like up a separate extra one in case anyone wants, or I mean also there's probably like a million of them on YouTube.
Oh no, no, this is awesome. This is
so you don't have to see mine, but we could, but to put that up just to have, but it's so interesting because I also, as like an opener of the roads and remover of obstacles, of course, like the overlap with Elegua, but it's so interesting too. I didn't know about the Ganesh Writer Association, and so that is also an Elegua correlation. Like they really are so similar. Or like so connected. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's really, it does tend to shock me when I start seeing the parallels between various cultures and spiritual belief systems. I mean, not shocking, but it's like, well, duh, everything kind of comes from the same source. We were, all from source energy, spirit. So it's just different mythologies in various shapes and forms.
Definitely.
Same pudding.
Yeah. And that's such a beautiful, like really, really hopeful message to hear for us. Thank you so much for that.
Most definitely. Yeah, that I feel like that gave me chills. So it'll be interesting to hear what experiences you guys have this week after watching this video, especially with, what was said and what was pulled. So, I normally don't have that sort of looming reaction where the energy is still around me, but I feel like, big things transitioning into this eclipse. This month in general has been a big powwow.
Definitely. It really has. And also, I feel like something you were saying earlier makes a lot of sense. And it makes a lot of sense with the astrology that I kind of didn't explicitly say, which is like, yes, we are in this time of massive change. And the solar eclipse is, of course, also a new moon. And so we're like, new, initiate, begin, but it is also sometimes really important. We have to look at the big picture. And so with Mercury retrograde, with other factors, it's kind of like we want to keep the faith, like that what we're setting and what we're intending and what we're working toward, like it will still blossom. We're not necessarily going to see, sometimes it's like new moon intention, and then like 2 days later we're like, it didn't happen yet, I guess. Like some of that kind of manifesting vibe can almost be like put out almost a little bit of an impatient energy, like I'm intending, like kind of like where is it?
Where is it, right?
And this could kind of be cooking, like the obstacles are being removed, like the roads are opening, but especially with something like the eclipses, it's like we may not really fully see what's happening for months. So to kind of really keep feeling good and close to your core intention, and trusting that like results and shifts and changes are on the way. They're not seeing them yet.
Like I feel like it's not so much as a waiting thing as, if you have that anxiety, then you're not being present. You're focusing already on something that doesn't exist, whereas in reality, the universe has a numerous amounts of plot twists in store for us.
Right.
So this may be a time that's just full of plot twists. So people really get their panties all up in a bunch when shit doesn't fall into place, when in reality it's falling into place, but it's on a frequency, a level, a dimension that we can't quite conceptualize.
Definitely.
So we have to hold space for the spirit realms to do their thing, because ultimately they see the bigger picture that we don't see. And said,
Absolutely.
hold on, you wanted to go straight, but really going backwards and in our circle diagonally this way is much more faster than going linearly. Trust me, because I'm in 8D. Like, so
Yeah.
I have to also bear that in mind. Do the work. Doing the work is consistent. This is not instant manifestation. This is life. So we really have no control over what can happen next. And so I don't just hope stay grounded.
Yeah.
Stay grounded.
Definitely. Definitely. Thank you so much, Tatiana. Really
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you, sister girlfriend.
It's so good to, I always forget this part, to say, so if you want to stay connected, definitely follow us on Instagram. I'm the Voluptuous Witch, also on Facebook, and on YouTube. And I have a mailing list that if you want to get on it, I send out weekly horoscopes and things like that that are specific by sign. If you want to do that. So to do that, you can just send a text to 66866 and the word is magic. So text magic to 66866 and you can get on my list and I'll send you horoscopes and, usually I'll include a ritual or things like that that are like connected to the astrology. And then how can everyone find you, Tatiana?
Sweet, sweet, sweet. So you can follow me on my social media pages, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, on Tatiana Tarot. It's TATIANNA, Tarot, TAROT, all one word. Also, if you're interested in booking a session with me, in person, it would be through New Orleans, but I'm also accessible phone, FaceTime, Google Hangout, anywhere. So you can do that on my website, myurbanillumination.com. Click on the Work With Me tab. All the information is there. So you can find it. And that's how you can follow us and follow our journeys on a day-to-day basis. We both do. Emily does a lot of astrological updates on a daily basis, and I'll do tarot updates on a daily basis. So this is just a general weekly reading energy forecast. But if you're really needing something more to chew on the day of, that's how you can find both of us and get some more juju that way.
Definitely. And also you can, if you want to book an astrology reading, you could do that through my website, which is thevoluptuouswitch.com. And you can have love readings or relationship readings or life path readings. And also I had been offering an eclipse reading, like a mini reading that I had offered on Instagram, and there were so many people and I kind of had to cut it off. But as I'm talking with them, there's so much, with so much going on, so much energy. Yeah. For people who are watching, if you're watching this and you want an eclipse reading, it's like it's like a half reading, just message me on Instagram, and I'll bring it back for all of you since we're all here together, we're all going through it. If you want that, you can connect with me for that. But yeah, it's a wonderful time to get a reading. It's an amazing time to get a tarot reading, get messages from spirit, could have some enhanced clarity and affirmation, confirmation, guidance, like just to be connected. I'm definitely getting a reading later this week for sure.
Dope.
Check in.
And also, I forgot to mention, if you guys really find this valuable, I mean, we're so passionate to put it out there, and we're really grateful that you guys are actually tuning in to watch us. Please feel free to like, share, comment on your experience, because we do lead very busy lives, but we are interested in knowing how you're utilizing this material, what's going on with you. If you have any tips during this time for other viewers, for us, most definitely, we're all ears. I mean, this is a community, so we're all open-hearted here too. And subscribe and share with others that you never know, like somebody who may not be inclined to follow this type of work may need it the most at this time. So it is a time for transformation and plot twists. Why not?
Yeah, very true. Yeah, that is so true. Oh, it's so good to talk to you. I'm so happy I got to see you. And we got to do
Yay,
this
yay. I'm
today.
grateful. We had to do it.
I'm grateful too. And I wish everyone, we wish you a really beautiful week.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm looking forward to hearing how this resonates with you and how things, so we can hear how things are going for you.
Definitely, definitely. So you guys be well. Love and kisses. Ciao.
We'll be back with you next week.